Amazing. So our next presentation is Branding in Real Estate, Rising Above the Sea of Sameness by Martin Zarian, co-founder and brand strategist at Design Lead Factory 39 and Balabut. Please give a warm welcome for Martin, everyone. So that, mate.
Can we get audio?
This is one of your products, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Can you describe what's on the table in front of you?
I think it's fantastic. It's fun, it's unique, it's beautiful.
So this is a unique product.
That's correct.
Here's one of your competitors. Here's another one of your competitors. Now, to me, that just looks exactly the same.
So, to me, they don't look the same.
They're identical.
It's hand-packed.
That won't make any difference to the consumer.
I think the bow on the top adds to the value of it.
So it's the bow.
So it's the bow, right? So this is what real estate looks, and this is what real estate looks in Cyprus specifically. It's exactly the same example of the video. It is what's happening right now. There are lots of companies, lots of them say the same things, act the same way, look the same way. But there is one company in particular among these that is a great family-owned company doing great properties for the last 40 years, great customer service, great value for the users. The problem is we don't know what it is. It's right there, but it's very hard to find. Cyprus and real estate in Cyprus is a really interesting place to be right now. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be in real estate. We're talking about 15 to 17, close to 18% of the GDP of the country. It's super competitive, 1,000 plus licensed real estate businesses in Cyprus alone, 500 plus developers in Cyprus, meaning that we are in this situation. The more competitive a market it is, and the less differentiated a product it is, the less unique a product it is, the more need for brand you have. But why? Why is branding so important, and why having a great product, great value, great architecture, and great design is no more enough nowadays? And why am I here talking to you about branding? Why am I able to pay my bills, and why branding is so important? Because branding helped change all these narratives. Diamonds are not rare and they're not forever. Lobsters were given to the poor people. When you were seeing lobster shells around the house back in the days, it was a sign that it was a bad neighborhood. Harley Davidsons are not great bikes. Tesla did not make the first electric car. Apple did not invent a PC. They did not invent a smartphone and did not invent a smartwatch. Santa Claus was actually green and scary before Coca-Cola took over. The swastika was a symbol of peace before we had Hitler. Champagne is a sparkling wine from a specific region. And caviar was once cheap food given to the Russian peasant. So what happened here? What happened here is that these products, they got branded. Branding does not change the way something looks. It changes what it means. That's why the more competitive a market it is, the more fundamental this concept it is. For the ones of you that know me, you know that I like to keep things practical. I like to give things away. So help me out here. We're going to play a few games. When you see this, what is the first thing on the top of the mind that comes into mind? More? Pasta, pizza, Ferrari, Vespa. Is anyone going to say mafia? No? Hand gestures? Exactly. Right. So what you just described, the memories and the connection, the immediate reaction that you have with Italy, that is the brand. The stories, the emotion, what you connect with Italy. The flag is the logo. The job of the flag is to identify that country among all others. There are no other flags like that, right? It's the only flag in the world that identifies Italy. So that's the fundamental difference between brand and branding. Brand is the gut feeling that you have about a product, service, or organization. I am a brand. The way I dress, the way I move, my accent, I am a brand. I will leave this stage, you will have an impression about me. That impression is my brand. You do not own your brand. You own your company, but who owns your brand is your customers. Whatever they say about you, that is the brand. And branding is how you manage that meaning. It's how you create that persistent connection with your user through a specific meaning, through design, through messaging, through customer experience, through all the trends that also Olga said just before me. So when we're talking about branding, and specifically branding in real estate, and specifically branding in real estate in Cyprus, I want to keep things simple. We're going to discuss name, logo, distinctive assets, messaging, and storytelling. Excuse me, that little dot escaping there, I just noticed, it's killing me. But anyway, it's an organic slide. When we're talking about name, the job of a name is to be memorable, appropriate, distinctive, and relevant. The problem is that many real estate companies and property development companies in Cyprus, they take this same template to create that name. It's very hard to remember a real estate and a property business in Cyprus because there is way too much prime, way too much class, way too much quality. There are lots of acronyms, lots of surnames. All of that, anything in that mix equals a very forgettable name. Do not listen to your grandmother that used to tell you you do not judge a book by its cover. You do judge a book by its cover. And the cover starts with a name. Next, logo. This is an actual random collection of real estate and property development companies' logos in Cyprus. They all look like they were variation of the same designer for the same concept. Remember the Italian flag? Remember that a logo has the job of being unique in the world. No one else has it. It's the first connection point, memorable touch point that you have with your business. If we look like this, we have a long way to go. Even sadder than this is that a lot of those real estate companies, they sell flat for 16 billion, 16 millions, like amazing property developments. They purchase their logos from Shutterstock for 20 euros. Meaning that there is another company in the world that has exactly the same logo. Now, commanding a 2.5K rent and 16 million for a penthouse and spending 20 euro for a logo that was created randomly and anyone else can own it, I don't think is a good step towards luxury. Distinctive assets. These are unique elements that create immediate brand recognition. Another game. Help me out here, please. What is this? Guinness. This? Actually, the 1915 brief for the Coca-Cola bottle was to design a bottle so recognizable you could immediately understand what company it is in the dark, and it was shattered on the ground. 1915. This? KFC. They didn't even finish their slogan, is finger licking good, right? They are being so consistent and so simple in their activation that you just see a dude stuffing his face and putting a finger in his mouth and you know immediately it's KFC. So these are distinctive elements that you can own and create immediate recognition with your user. Messaging and storytelling. There was another talk yesterday, I think, where we were discussing about the power of storytelling. Since we were very little and since we were a little bit more than upgraded monkeys around the fire, we were telling stories. There is a neurological concept which is called neurocoupling. When a storyteller tells a story to a story listener, their waves in a neurological level align. feels like black magic, but it's not. It's the power of story. So if you're able to leverage the power of story, if you're able to leverage the emotion, like what Olga was saying, we are emotional buyers. And storytelling is how we can connect with the user. The buyer and the seller can neurologically combine thanks to storytelling. Unfortunately, again, we all say we are the leading XYZ. We have the largest portfolio. And then we talk a lot about luxury. Everything in Cyprus feels luxury. The problem is, if everything is luxury, what actually is luxury? Right? Positioning, another great concept. If you had to remember one thing from today's talk, except how much I move my hands and how much I shout, it will be this. How a brand is placed in the minds of his customer relative to the competitors, right? The space we are able to own in our brain. And I'm sorry to break it to you, we are not that smart, and we cannot memorize many things. Especially nowadays, we are bombarded with brands every day. So this concept is becoming increasingly harder. Let's play another game. If I say red car, Ferrari, tell me another one. You see? We can recall one. The other one, we have to really work for it. Energy drink? Perfect. A lot of people in Cyprus actually say shark. Is it shark? No, is it shark the other one, right? So it's relevant to your ideal customer. If your grandmother is not a customer, I don't give a shit what she thinks, honestly, right? I need to target my ideal customer. So these brands manage to create that connection with the user. Fridge? Oh, I heard it. Bosch? Smeg. I picked Smeg because I grew up as a designer, and I think this built the memory in my head. Second fridge, well, we said a few, but any time that you start recalling for a second one, it becomes harder. Vacuum cleaner? Dyson. Not the first vacuum cleaner, right? It was not the first vacuum cleaner. Actually, it was Hoover that created that immediate product name connection, right? It became a generalized name. So here's the thing. We can only recall immediately the first brand. Second brand hard, good luck with the third and the fourth. The third and fourth, you just don't want to be there. You're wasting your branding, you're wasting your marketing. You don't want to be there. And that's why it's important, if it's such a saturated market and the products are so similar, how might we get to be the first? So, another concept that is fundamental, and I think for me defines what branding is to have the courage to understand that if everyone is zigging, you should zag. If everyone is doing something, that something is not going to work for you. If someone is doing this thing, you should be doing that thing. In this chart, you can map all the companies in the world. And I don't know if you read The Art of War from Sun Tzu. It's a great, great book. And it says that the greatest victory is that which requires no battle. If I am starting a sport brand, I'm not going to go and tip the toes of Nike. That is a battle I will not be able to win. Meaning, you can place all the companies in the world here. Starting from the bottom left, is not a good product and is not different, you're wasting oxygen. You should not even exist. We have enough crap in this world that we don't need another crap product, another crap brand. That you don't want to be there for sure. It's different, but not good. That's usually all the stuff that you buy on Temu now, right? They attract your attention, comes to home, and you're immediately disappointed, right? Different works in attracting the attention. I appreciate the fact that you took my attention as a very busy person, but then if the product is shit, why do you exist? A good product nowadays, a good apartment, a good flat, a good project is the benchmark. If I'm buying from you and you're a professional in your industry, it's a given that your product is good. We shouldn't even be talking about that. And then you have good but not different. Everyone is there. Everyone is there. I have the best product in the world, no one knows about it. I have the best service in the world, people are not coming to me. If you have the best product and the best service in the world, you have an incredible opportunity to also be different, attract attention, build your brand, get your customer to care about you. And then we have the nirvana place, good and a different brand, right? That's where you want to be. Remember, if everyone is doing something, you want to do something else. Your product is good, and that's a benchmark. Now let's build a narrative of how we are different and how we look different in everything that we do. Human brains have not evolved much. I mean, we look slightly different, although sometimes on a Saturday morning, questionable, pre-makeup. We are still hardwired to recognize what is different. We immediately notice what is different. An attractive partner, right? That man, that girl, oh, she's hot, right? She's different. I want, right? And that happens like this. Back in the day, we were looking, the bushes moving, oh my God, a predator is coming, right? A red mushroom, warning. We are exactly the same. We notice what is different. Different, different, different. So this is where I want you to go. Remember the image on the beginning? If those are all the others, how can we become that little different dot there? So how is the question? The best analogy for you in this industry is that we're building a house, right? Would you start building your family home from the roof? Would you risk the life of your loved one starting from the roof, starting from the windows, starting from the color? No, you will start from the foundation. If you want to be successful with all the beautiful things we were discussing in the previous talk, which are really great, remember, they will work much better and they work only if you start from the brand strategy. If you start from the foundation, right? The foundation work and the blueprint of your development is the brand strategy for your brand. That dictates how everything else works. And once you have this beautiful, cohesive brand driven by your foundation, that's how you're going to make it. But remember, I was very critical because we have a great opportunity to be different. There are some awesome companies in the island. There is some awesome talent flowing into the island, the Russian-speaking communities, the Israeli, the people from the rest of Europe. We have a great opportunity. But remember, the more saturated the market it is, the less differentiated the product it is, the bigger the branding opportunity is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. Amazing. Feel free to stay on the stage so we can ask a few questions. And scan the QR code, everyone, to ask your questions on Slido. Until that comes in, we'll take a couple of questions from the crowd for the time being, if anyone's got any. For Martin?
Feel free to challenge, provoke. It's your time. Be selfish with it.
A few shy people in the room.
I scared them too much, I think.
So we'll just wait up for some of the questions to come up on Slido. But like I said, feel free to scan the QR code if you do have any questions for Martin, and we'll answer them in a moment's time. Here we go. So first question of the day, what brands from Cyprus do you love? It's a good question.
Oh.
If there are any.
No, I think there are many. I think I love the brand of Cyprus in general. For me, the brand of Cyprus is this ability to merge work and life. I think we are uniquely placed in the world as a place where you can do amazing work, but also have an amazing lifestyle. I love Keo as a brand. I think Keo is the quintessential brand of Cyprus. I just wish they will go for it. I feel like they're a bit in autopilot for a long time. Leon, rebranded, they are attracting a younger user target. I think Keo is well positioned to be the brand of the future, but they're not doing it. Real estate-wise, I love what BBF is doing. I think they are sexy. I think they're different. I think from the logo and the messaging and how they're branding and how out there with their different brand are, I really admire them. And to me, it's one of the few I can remember as a brand obsessed person. Billboards. Oh, I did not say billboards.
So tell them, please, why do real estate use them so heavily? They are expensive and they all look the same.
I think it's a vanity metric. As a company, I feel arrived in Cyprus if I have a billboard. Most of the billboards don't really do anything. They don't show good enough the property because you're going 100 kilometers an hour, so there is no way you can appreciate the property. The messaging doesn't do anything. I don't really see. I think it's part of an awareness, right? We are here, we're there, but I think there needs to be a much more comprehensive campaign to build really the brand and make it look different. I'm not a fan of billboards, as you can see.
I mean, if you do drive in your car and you stop at traffic lights, the first thing you're going to do is pick up your phone and look at it, not look up at the billboard. So at the end of the day,
I think if you have a radio campaign, TV campaign, a web campaign, then the billboard is also another touch point, right? We need 7 touch points, scientifically proven, in order to build the memory of a brand. And if you only have billboards, you're wasting money.
Amazing. So what would you suggest for a small-scale family-owned developer company currently in the works in order to distinguish from big sharks?
Just look mega different.
Yeah.
Have the balls to look mega different. I think that you have a great opportunity because you're agile, you're nimble, you can implement things much faster than a family-owned company that has been on the island for 40 years, right? Imagine the roundtable conversation with them. Oh, we need to look different. Oh, but we always done it this way. Why we should look different? My grandfather started the company. If you're small and nimble, think about judo, right? In judo, not the biggest and strongest opponent win. Actually, the smallest opponent can take his size as an advantage of the opponent. Almost like David and Goliath. Yeah. It's much easier to do branding when you're smaller, I think.
Could you recommend any tools to do something like that for
I think start from
company?
the strategy, who we are, what matters to us, why are we different, who are our competitors, and how are we going to compete. If you can answer these 5 questions very quickly, then you can build a brand. But remember the house analogy. Have a good strategy, and then have all your operations, marketing, and also all the other operations align with the brand. And always with the goal of being fundamentally different than any other.
Amazing. Google Ads or social media campaigns?
Just like billboards, I think, right? You need 7 touch points, right? What 7 touch points can you afford? And the most important element, especially in digital marketing, is consistency, right? What are we saying? How do we want to be positioned in the mind of our ideal target? And what type of content we need to do in also to always be remembered like that? It gives you wings, right? For example, Red Bull, right? So they build that, and they're saying that same concept for the longest time. But even their brand application, it all goes back to that. Nike, just do it, right? They've been out from since forever. It's about consistency and building that memory tissue in your user.
I guess there's a bit of fear in these questions. Is it too risky to create out-of-the-box videos for a company like industry in Cyprus?
It's a great question. I think the word I want to focus on is risky. I think, yes, being different at the beginning can be risky and scary, but it's proven that different products command higher profitability. And that was the core concept of Apple as well. If you remember the first Apple products, they didn't do incredibly well in terms of sales, but they were incredibly recognizable. And they started building that memory tissue around the user. And now you expect always to have different products. Although Apple haven't done any massive innovation in a long time, really. I mean, the iPhone it's really disappointing for at least 5-6 years, I would say. So yes, at the beginning, it takes courage. But branding is long-term, right? You work for 40 years, you're going to have another 40 years of this brand, and that's how you want to build it, right? You want to build that memory tissue so people can remember you and come to you when the demand arises. When their demand arises, you are positioned as the right supplier.
I guess maybe a repetitive one, but you mentioned BBF, but you have real estate agencies that comes to mind that you like the branding of. I've touched that a little bit on recently.
I cannot immediately recall any others, to be honest with you. I've been researching this industry for the last year and a half. I think BBF managed to own my brain. I can say moving doors, but we branded it, and that's probably not fair. And here's the thing: I researched the industry for a year and a half. I live and breathe brand, and I am having a hard time. Imagine the average customer.
Someone's looking for some more advice. Tell us the key to be different in the real estate industry.
Yeah, I think it's very simple. You need to know your competition super well, right? You need to go to bed with them, literally or not literally. I'll leave that to you, and understand exactly what they do, and do the opposite. It's a very simple mindset, guys. I think if you want to take away something from today, do that. A lot of the conversation that I have with my clients is to encouraging them to step out of the comfort zone. Right? To encouraging them, this will work because no one is doing it. And we talk about the 5 points before: name, brand identity, distinctive assets, messaging and storytelling, and positioning. Focus on this. How can I generate a different name? How can I generate a different brand identity? How can I generate a different messaging? And how can I generate a different positioning in our minds? Different, right?
Well, a fellow from the UK here, how long do you think it takes before it takes a recognizable brand, as you was talking about, brand established for ages?
Yeah. It does take a long time. It's a marathon, right? But we are wasting time. The longer we wait to build that brand and to build that market positioning, the harder it becomes, right? And remember what I said at the beginning, everyone is a brand, right? So the difference is, do you want to be a brand by choice or a brand by chance? Right? That is the difference. Every day that we think about this and we remunerate about it and it's too risky and it's going to take too long time, you lost another day, right? For me personally, it pretty much 3 to 4 years. You start to see those seeds, but this is organic. You are not spending marketing budget on that lead. That lead came to you, right? So it's good to spend money on immediate lead generation. I understand your boss wants sales, right, and wants sales yesterday. It's good, but if you do only that, you're missing out on brand. You're missing out that in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, someone will come organically to you, and you did not spend anything for that lead. That lead is 100% revenue.
Absolutely. So how to make the 7 touches consistently, I guess, with the low startup budget?
Yeah, content is free. Yeah. Right? I don't do paid media. Everyone comes to me because of the content I do on LinkedIn. I became a LinkedIn top voice this year, and 90% of the leads I'm getting is because of that, because I invested the last 3 years to build a personal brand on LinkedIn. So startup founders, I understand that they don't have the budget, but they need to find the time to put it in themselves. If you have a startup, you can build your personal brand, and building your personal brand is free. You want to become a top voice, you want to become an industry leader, and through your personal brand, you can funnel in leads into your company brand. So, and then there are many things you can do that are relatively budget friendly. You can come to this event and just network the shit out of it. Yeah. Again, it's free. It just takes your time, and that's brand building. So if you find someone in front of you, what are you going to say for the 15 seconds that person will remember you? You're not going to say we are a real estate developer in Cyprus and we make great projects, because everyone else does the same, right?
Pretty much. Spot on.
And that's free again.
Yeah. So, one more question. Don't you think that the audience in Cyprus is limited and branding there is quite specific? We are discussing global brands for broad audiences here.
Yeah, I think every single brand I speak to, they all have out of Cyprus aspirations, right? Cyprus is a really good sandbox. It's a really good place where you can develop your product, finance your product. It's a perfect startup ground, but it's also a perfect place where you can play around with your brand and see what works, what does not work, before to go and commit outside with global brands. And if you flip this question as an opportunity, it's a smaller market, meaning I can do more with less. Yeah. Right? Meaning that the opportunity to stand out, it's much more. And being a smaller market, being crowded, being growing, and being undifferentiated, the opportunity is perfect. I think Cyprus is an amazing time to be alive, and an amazing time to be in Cyprus as a business owner.
Couldn't agree with you more on that. So love it. I have a lot of questions here today for you, Martin.
Yeah.
What do you what you say sounds very simple in words.
Yeah.
But can we have an example?
Yeah, I think if you go on our case study on the website, we have documentaries of actual the process behind it. We have case studies that document step by step how we do it. And again, one of the best examples that we have here are two companies that we helped. It's Askwire and Moving Doors, and both of them, they have weird names and weirder brands. Moving Doors used to be called Staycay, and they had a problem that no one could remember them. They were a very generic brand, growing brand in terms of operation, but in terms of market awareness, they were doing really bad. And we did a brand strategy that was focused on positioning them into the market as a really different brand. And it took us a long time to convince the people in the business to trust us with a different name. Like Moving Doors has nothing to do with flexible accommodation. But the brand strategy before is feel at home from the moment you touch and handle. Right? And that's why you can keep moving doors, keep changing position with a flexible accommodation system, but immediately feel at home. And the logo is different, the name is different, the color is different, and so on. Right? So what we were saying before, the concept of branding is simple. The structure behind it can also be simple if you start from the strategy. If you have a brand strategy, all the rest becomes simple because the brand strategy tells you what to do, but most importantly, also tells you what not to do. A lot of time in our lives, we spend thinking about what we have to do. Not enough time is spent on what we don't have to do in order to be true to our brand strategy. So it's a hard problem to solve. It becomes an easy problem to activate and answer to once you have the brand strategy.
Excellent answer. So how do we educate brands on how to choose a marketing agency? Is it important to have a relevant visionary inside the brand as well? It's a very good question.
Amazing question. It's pretty much how you will choose your partner, right? I think they obviously need to have experience. They need to have proof of the work that they have done. Bless you. And you wanna enjoy your time with them, right? Many times I've been nicknamed as the therapist of brands because we spend a lot of time together. And if we don't vibe, it's not going to happen, right? So they have a good portfolio, relative experience. You vibe with the person inside, and that's already a good point. Is it important to have a relevant visionary inside the brand as well? I say yes. We spend a lot of time having the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officers. I haven't seen enough CBOs, Chief Brand Officers. I think if we had Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Brand Officer, it will be an amazing combo. When we build brands, we start from the strategy, we do the brand identity, but also I coach the internal team, and sometimes I build the internal team, because the best people to build the brand, Monday to Friday, are the people inside. You cannot rely forever on externals, right? So you need to be able to breathe and live your brand every day.
Amazing. We'll just take one more question then. Personal branding for businesses and specifically real estate.
Goldmine. Goldmine. Currently in LinkedIn, there are I don't know how many millions profiles, and the percentage of content creators, is under 10%. Meaning that not many people are creating content on LinkedIn. I don't know enough, and Olga and her team, she knows much better about Instagram, Facebook, and everything, but to me, they're too saturated. I do not spend time in that. I post my stuff, my dog, my other things on Instagram. I have fun with it, but in LinkedIn changed my life. And if you have a brand, you need to invest in your personal brand building, because remember, you already are a personal brand, but you're doing it by chance, not by choice. You need to weaponize your personal brand as an expert, as a top voice in that industry, and that will have a tremendous impact on your company brand as well. Remember, check out Tesla's profile on social media and check Elon Musk, his personal brand. His personal brand is probably 1000x. We don't give a shit about corporate brands, right? We do not interact with them as a personal brand. But especially if I want to buy a 500, a million, a 16 million penthouse, I want to buy it from a person that I know. And the first step is having that person build that personal brand from the digital space. So yeah, please do look into building your personal brand. I cannot stress that enough, because if your real estate company closes now, or it sells, or you move away from this real estate, The thing that will stay is your personal brand. Your personal brand will die when you die. It's that vital. So anyone should start investing on that.
And spot on the
More
timing there,
questions
sir.
than the actual slides.
So if you have any more questions for Martin, guys, you can find him at Balabook Stand.
Balabook Stand, number 10, yeah.
Number 10. Perfect. Thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you very
Have
much
a
for
good one.
listening. Thank you.